What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, I'm doing race 6 for the 2024 Iowa Corn 350. Let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. This weekend is the inaugural NASCAR Cup Series race at Iowa Speedway, a 7/8 of a mile short track. The first time the Cup Series will head to Iowa Speedway. Some big things to note. This track will be using the primary tire that we use at Norfolk, so meaning there's probably not going to be a lot of fall off. And also, the bottom two lanes were repaved during the winter, meaning that's probably going to be a bottom feeder race this weekend, where track position is going to matter a lot more for the Cup Series race at Iowa Speedway. So now, let's go ahead and jump into picks. But before we go ahead and jump into picks, let's take a look at the weather for this weekend. So the weather for this weekend is looking promising. It's going to be 92 degrees high with 73 degrees low with a 20% chance of rain with mostly cloudy to partly cloudy skies. It will cool off because this will turn into night race by the end of the event, but it's going to be really warm if you're headed out to Iowa Speedway this weekend. So now, let's go ahead and jump into picks. For those who are new to the channel, here's how picks work. I usually do 2 suck picks, 2 drivers I expect a struggle throughout the weekend who I think are not going to have a good run. I do 2 underdog picks, 2 drivers I expect to run well in underfront equipment or need a good run this weekend who could turn it around. And I do my winner's pick, the driver thinks going to win the race overall. And I do the drivers you need to watch out for. And usually for the Cup Series, I have 5 drivers you need to watch out for along with the race winner. So now, let's go ahead and jump into picks. Who are my suck picks for the Iowa Corn 350 at Iowa Speedway? My first suck pick for this weekend at Iowa is the driver of the 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, Martin Truex Jr. This is going to come as a shock considering Martin Truex Jr. has been extremely strong on short tracks, but it feels like there's a bad cloud hanging over this 19 team. They had issues at Gateway where they had a top 5 car where they had a flat tire. At the Coke 600, I think they got caught up in a couple incidents, and I think they finished outside the top 10. And then, of course, last week at Sonoma where they ran out of gas. There's also unknown at this point whether Martin Truex Jr. is going to be coming back in 2025, which is hanging over him at the moment. I think that's going to put a burden on him, unfortunately, and sadly, I don't think Martin Truex Jr. is going to have a good run this weekend at Iowa Speedway. My second suck pick for this weekend at Iowa is the driver of the 8 car for Richard Childress Racing, Kyle Busch. Very similar to Martin Truex Jr., the last couple weeks for Kyle Busch have not gone very well. He had a top 15 at the Coke 600. Gateway got involved in that wreck with Kyle Larson. Then had the crash at Indy. And then, of course, he did get spun by Ross Chastain at Sonoma. And Kyle Busch has not been really good on short tracks with RCR. I don't know what they need to do to turn it around, but unfortunately, I don't think Kyle Busch is going to have a good run. I sadly think he struggles, and I do not think Kyle Busch will have a very, very good run this weekend at Iowa Speedway. And now we're going ahead and jump on underdog picks for the Iowa Corn 350. Who are my underdog picks? My first underdog pick for this weekend at Iowa is the driver of the 1 car for Trackhouse Racing, Ross Chastain. Normally, I don't put Ross Chastain as an underdog pick, but generally this year, Ross Chastain has been a little off compared to the last couple of years. But I feel like this one team is really starting to emerge. Their performance is starting to show up a little more consistently, and I think their short track program has actually been a lot better this year compared to the last couple of years. I think Ross Chastain's going to have another potential top 5 run. I think he finished in the top 5 last weekend at Sonoma. I think Ross Chastain's going to have a really good chance at opportunity to get a top 5 or top 10 at least this weekend at Iowa Speedway. My second underdog pick for this weekend at Iowa is the driver of the 77 car for Spire Motorsports, Carson Hocevar. Carson Hocevar has generally been impressive throughout the 2024 season. He's been finishing in the top 20 a little more consistently, as well as coming off 2 back-to-back top 20 finishes. And Carson Hocevar has been pretty solid on the short tracks as well. I go back to Bristol last year, where he had a top 5 car for a lot of that event. I think that Carson Hocevar is going to be a contender for at least the top 10, if not even the top 5, considering they're going to be having some help from Gamebridge. I think Carson Hocevar will have a very solid and a pretty good run this weekend at Iowa Speedway with Spire Motorsports. And now we're going ahead and jump on to the winner's pick for this weekend at Iowa. Who is my pick to win? The driver I'm picking to win was one of the drivers who came and did the test a couple weeks back. I am picking the driver of the 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, Christopher Bell, to pick up the victory. It feels like the 20 team is starting to show a lot more speed, a lot more consistently. Christopher Bell, of course, won the Colt 600, had the fastest car at Gateway, and remember, he was extremely strong at Phoenix as well. And he was really good at Bristol before they had the issues with the tires coming apart. I think Christopher Bell is going to get his third win of the year. This 20 team, like I said, is really starting to merge. They're starting to be a lot more consistent, and Bell has been pretty good in the Xfinity Series at this track as well. I think Christopher Bell will be able to pick up win number 3 of 2024 this weekend at Iowa Speedway. And now we're going ahead and jump on the drivers you need to watch out for this weekend at Iowa. Who should you have your eyes out on? The first driver to watch out for this weekend at Iowa is the driver of the 5 car for Hendrick Motorsports, Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson is coming off picking up his third victory of the 2024 season this past weekend at Sonoma, and Kyle Larson was one of the other drivers that tested at Iowa. I think Kyle Larson is going to have a really great chance and opportunity to rely that information to the other Chevrolets, but also think Kyle Larson is going to have the pace and speed to be up front, as I feel like he's been one of the better short track races this year. I think he's got a good chance to go back-to-back, and if he does, it will be his 4th win of 2024. I think he's got a good chance to do it this weekend at Iowa Speedway. The second driver to watch out for this weekend at Iowa is the driver's 6 car for RFK Racing, Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski's been really starting to put on a tear with performances. He's been extremely consistent. The last 4 or 5 weeks, I think his worst finish is 13th, if I'm not mistaken, and he's been up front a lot. And RFK's shown a lot more pace as well. I think Brad Keselowski is also going to be great. Plus, if I remember correctly, he was one of the other drivers that did the test at Iowa. I think Brad Keselowski have a good chance and opportunity to win this weekend at Iowa Speedway. The third driver to watch out for this weekend at Iowa is a driver of the 23 car for 2311 Racing, Bubba Wallace. This is going to be a little bit of a bold one, but I think Bubba is going to run well. He's been really generally good at short tracks this year. He ran really good at Martinsville, finishing inside the top 5, was one of the only guys that could keep up with the Hendrick cars all day, and was also really good at Richmond before the issues came in. And this track is very similar to Richmond. So I think Bubba Wallace is going to have a very solid performance, and I think he'll have a really great chance and opportunity maybe get the victory. He's still looking for that 3rd career win. I think he's going to have a good chance and opportunity to do that this weekend at Iowa Speedway. The 4th driver to watch out for this weekend at Iowa is the driver of the 9 car for Hendrick Motorsports, Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott has been extremely consistent. In fact, his average finish, I think, is under 9th place, and his worst finish this year is 19th. He's currently 2nd in the regular season standings, and I think Chase Elliott is going to continue that momentum with a very excellent and strong run this weekend. This 9 team, like I said, is really putting it on, and I think Chase Elliott, like I said, will have a really good chance and opportunity to get his 2nd win of 2024 this weekend at Iowa. And the 5th final driver I think you should watch out for this weekend at Iowa is the driver of the 11 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin has been very consistent throughout the year. I get he had issues at Sonoma, but prior to Sonoma, he had 5 consecutive top 5 finishes, which was the first time that happened since 2021. I think Denny Hamlin's going to have a really good chance to get it done. He's been one of the most consistent and one of the biggest threats for the championship throughout the year. I think his 11 team is going to be fast. They've been really good on short tracks. I think Denny Hamlin will have a really good chance and opportunity to pick up the victory this weekend at Iowa Speedway. So, those are my race picks for the 2024 Iowa Corn 350 at Iowa. Just a reminder, my set picks are Mark Trixon, Kyle Busch. My underdog picks are Ross Chastain, Carson Hocevar. My winner's pick is Christopher Bell. And the ones to watch out for, Kyle Larson, Brad Keselowski, Bubba Walsh, Chase Elliott, and Denny Hamlin. Those are my race picks. So, that is going to be it for the race picks video for the 2024 Iowa Corn 350 at Iowa. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's go below that and comment your picks below for this weekend at Iowa. Let me know your suck picks, let me know your underdog picks, let me know your winner's pick, and let me know your drivers you're watching out for this weekend at Iowa. Let me know your picks in the comments below. Later tonight on the channel, we're going to have the paint skin video for the Iowa Corn 350. Then, of course, we'll have the NASCAR news video dropping on tomorrow. And we're also going to have a lot of great content dropping, including in the future, I'll have a video on 10 drivers who could drive the 19 car in 2025. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode. And I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.